boys and girls, and welcome to 2024's first fall episode of What's Cookin', a library culinary show that combines two of my favorite things, stories and food. Thanks for joining me. My name is Missy Lane, and today we're going to read about, talk about, and create a dish called poutine. What is poutine? Have you ever heard of that word before? Maybe you've tried poutine before. Let's find out together more about it and discover exactly what it is in the book called The Girl Who Loved Poutine by Lorna Schultz Nicholson and illustrated by Rachel Kiki. Zoe stares at the red circle on the calendar. It's our birthdays tomorrow. Daddy and me are on the same day every year. And it's Canada Day too, so we get a special fireworks. It's a big one for both of you, says Mom. And this year, some of your favorite relatives are coming to your party. I'm going to be 5. Zoe holds up her hand. 5 is a big birthday, isn't it? Do you remember when you turned 5? It's a special day, and she is super excited. At dinner that night, they eat chicken and salad. Zoe feeds her salad to Buster the dog. I bet I know what you want for your birthday meal. Daddy winks at Zoe. Poutine, she squeals. It's their birthday tradition to eat poutine. Zoe closes her eyes and imagines French fries and gravy and squeaky cheese curds. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The curds have to squeak. Daddy buys fresh curds from the local cheese factory. He makes the best poutine. It tastes so good, and it makes her think of hugs and laughing in the kitchen together. Okay, boys and girls, so let's pause here. We just discovered what poutine is. If you didn't already know, it's French fries topped with gravy and cheese, a special kind of cheese called cheese curds. Now, I love cheese, but I don't eat cheese curds very often. I usually only buy them when I'm making poutine. So it might be a cheese that you haven't tried yet either, but I think you're gonna like it. And you can find it in most local grocery stores. I love how she says just thinking about it is like probably making her mouth water, right? Because it's one of her favorite meals, but also that it makes her feel or think about hugs and laughter and just spending time together in the kitchen. That's one of my favorite things about cooking together with my family, is that you're creating those special memories in the kitchen. And you're usually having a good time and laughing and maybe singing, right? All right, let's see what happens next. After breakfast the next morning, Zoe helps her father prepare the poutine. She hands him the potatoes so he can cut them into fries. She stirs the gravy before Daddy heats it. She also helps by tasting the cheese curds. Squeak, squeak, squeak. I'm going to get the house ready, Mom calls out as she secretly welcomes their guests. Oh, she told Zoe that she has some relatives coming, right? But maybe she doesn't know exactly who or how many or when they're coming. So it looks like it's going to be a special surprise. When Zoe and her dad walk into the living room, everyone yells, "Happy birthday!" But Zoe sees that the dining room table is covered with dishes of poutine. Why did you bring poutine? She asks. Well, we know how much you both love it, so we thought we'd celebrate with a poutine contest, says Nona Marchese. Oh, that's a fun idea. A poutine contest? I wonder who's going to win. Look, all these different kinds of poutine. As we'll learn, there's many, many different kinds of varieties. But what's right in the middle of the table? Looks like a chocolate raspberry birthday cake. The birthday girl can be the judge, says Daddy. Zoe sits at the head of the table and Mom puts on a birthday crown for her. Start with mine, says Aunt Janice. It's Newfoundland and Labrador poutine, made with breadcrumbs, savory herbs, onions, and topped off with homemade salt meat. It looks like turkey stuffing, says Zoe. Would you like that kind if it had breadcrumbs on top and some onions? I wonder. Zoe takes a bite. As she's tasting the poutine, she remembers their family road trip to St. John's, Newfoundland. Even Buster came. I like it, she says. It reminds me of your kitchen parties where we eat salt meat and dance with the ugly stick that makes music. So all these different dishes are making her conjure up special memories, huh? I love that. Try ours next, said Aunt Anne and Uncle Liam. It's from Prince Edward Island, and it has lobster. Aunt Anne ties a plastic lobster bib around Zoe's neck. Zoe loves lobster suppers in PEI, where everyone wears a bib because lobster juice sprays everywhere. Zoe takes a bite. I like it, she says. It reminds me of walking on red sand, making sandcastles, and Uncle Liam pulling up lobster traps. Okay, so this particular poutine dish includes seafood. It has the lobster added on top. This one is from Montreal, says Aunt Celine. It has maple smoked bacon, onions, and even maple syrup mixed with the gravy. Zoe inhales to smell the bacon. She takes a bite. I like it, she says. It reminds me of seeing the sugar shacks, helping to tap from the maple trees and then making taffy on the snow. So that's another special memory of something that she remembers doing with her Aunt Celine. Boy, Zoe's very lucky to have so many fun family members, huh, that she gets to vacation with and visit with. Try mine, Cousin Jeremy is excited. It's made with Alberta beef. Saskatchewan has beef too, says Cousin Katie. Zoe tastes poutine, topped with shredded beef. I like it, she says. It reminds me of yellow fields, mountains, and big blue skies. Her eyes widen. And Banff. And Vancouver, too. We're next. Aunt Dakota and Uncle Aldo came south from Yellowknife. This is my recipe, Aunt Dakota says, made with caribou meat and green onions. Zoe tastes it. I like it, she says. It reminds me of winter and snowmobiling and eating soup to warm up. Then Nona exclaims, "You haven't tried mine yet. It's smothered with my pasta sauce." Zoe knows that Nona came from Italy to live in Niagara Falls when she was just a little girl. Zoe takes a bite. Then she gets up and kisses Nona once on each cheek. I love it, she says. It reminds me of your bowl of tomatoes, Niagara Falls, but best of all, Nona, your bear hugs. Oh, isn't that sweet? So, who's the winner? Jeremy asks. Zoe looks around the room. Everyone! Hooray, shouts Nona. Now let's party. And eat poutine, Zoe laughs. They sure have enough of it, don't they? Everybody brought their own special dish of poutine to share. So their bellies are going to be full. You know, boys and girls, that's another thing that I love with so many foods, that you could get creative with it, right? So even though the basic poutine recipe and the one that we're going to make today is simply French fries, gravy, and cheese curds, there are so many variations that you could try, you know, by being creative and adding some of your favorite things. I wonder what like some more chopped vegetables on top would taste like. What if we chopped up carrots and peppers and threw those on top? You know? So it's fun to like get creative and make a twist on your classic recipes. Try it the classic way first and then like come up with your own special twist. Later that night, when dinner is over, Zoe sits beside her father on the grass to watch the Canada Day fireworks. Zoe leans into him and whispers, "I liked all the poutine, but I will always love yours the best." Oh, nobody quite makes it just like her daddy does. And that's the end, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed the story. Something that I love about the back of this book is in the back on these end papers, they're called. They give you more fun facts about poutine. And then, of course, it gives you the recipe that we're going to make today and that I will share online. Be sure, if you have not visited our website already, this is probably where you found that video. But if you didn't see it, there is a recipe included as well and some table talkers for things for you to discuss with your family or your friends or whoever you're sharing this poutine with. Let's read some of the fun facts, shall we? Did you know that the word poutine is slang for mess in Quebec? Quebec is a city in Canada, which is where poutine is from, where it originated. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because as you're going to find out, poutine is delicious. It can also get pretty messy. In fact, I like to eat mine with a fork. Let's do one more. The word poutine is believed to have originated from the English word pudding and was used to describe a messy mixture. All right. So boys and girls, this book is available in the library for you to check out. And again, I hope you enjoyed it. Let's get started now. Let's dive right into the recipe. All right, boys and girls, so the first step, of course, is going to be to fry up these French fries of ours. And so to save time, you can see that I already have that going. But how did I start? The first step is that you'll want to rinse your potatoes if you're going to leave the skin on, which many people prefer. You're actually going to want to scrub those potatoes with vegetable scrubber. I decided to peel ours, so I gave it a good rinse, peeled the potatoes, and potato peelers, vegetable peelers all look different. This is the one that I use. This is what it looks like. As always, with any kitchen utensil or any time you are experimenting or cooking in the kitchen, you want to make sure you have a parent or guardian supervision, right? So we peeled our potatoes, and then of course we cut them. Now some of you might have a fancy French fry cutter or a French fry slicer that you can use. We did not here at the library, so I cut the potatoes, and you can see some of these that are already cut. I tend to like mine thick. They're called steak fries when they're thicker. If you like shoestring thin fries, then you would simply cut them thinner, right? But you just slice them down to your liking. You can see that, boys and girls, that some of these are getting brown. That's just because I sliced them a little bit ago. And it's actually the enzymes that are in potatoes and other vegetables and fruits that sometimes when it meets the air and interacts with the oxygen, it'll turn brown. That's why your apples sometimes turn brown in your lunch, or potatoes if they're sitting out too long. It's no big deal. They still taste delicious and you can still use them. So these are cut and just waiting to go in the pan. Okay. The ones that we have going are not quite yet done. You're going to know because they're going to turn a golden brown. You might have to turn them every now and again to make sure they don't stick. Anytime you're frying a vegetable, boys and girls, you want to put a good amount of oil in the pan. And again, I had that already done for us before we went ahead and got started. We used vegetable oil. You could use olive oil, canola oil, anything would work. You want to make sure you have a pretty good coating on the bottom of your pan before you throw your vegetables in. Okay, if you don't, you're definitely going to have to deal with some stickiness, some messiness. Potatoes start to fall apart, and even though they would taste just as delicious, it's not going to look as pretty when you go to present it. Okay, so we're just wait for these potatoes to fry up, and then we'll get started on our next step, which is the gravy. right, friends, so our potatoes are fried up. And again, you can do this to your liking. I always like my potatoes a little on the crisp burnt side almost, so I left mine in there a little bit longer. Once you have your bowl of potatoes, and again, the amount that you make depends on how many mouths you are trying to feed. We're only making a serving for 2 to 4 here today. If you have a larger family or if you're making this for company or for friends, you'll of course want to double the recipe. But let's set our potatoes aside and let's get started on the next ingredient, which is the gravy, the delicious savory gravy. Now there's a lot of different ways to make gravy. When you have drippings from meat, so like your juices from a turkey or a roast, that makes an excellent gravy. Today, of course, we don't have that, so we're gonna make a different kind of gravy from scratch. And it's very simple to do with just 3 to 5 ingredients, depending on your taste. But you definitely always have to start with butter. So I'm gonna put about 4 tablespoons of butter in the pot. Okay, and we're gonna get that to melt. Let's put that on low heat. Turn mine down just a tad. We don't want the butter to burn. Once that butter is melted, we're gonna add a 1/3 cup of flour in. And when you put butter and flour together and you stir it over low heat, you're making what's called a roux. So the first step of this gravy is to form a roux. I already have my flour measured out. Go ahead and dump that in so I can start to stir. If you would like, and if you already have it in your kitchen, you can grab a couple cloves of garlic and crush that in here. You can also chop up a small onion and saute the onion with this butter and flour. That thickened up really nicely, I think because it was already heated up. We don't want that to burn. So I'm going to take it off the heat for just a moment while we measure out our broth. Today, I have a beef broth here. You can use a chicken broth, a vegetable broth, any of those would work, but you need 3 cups of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in my first cup. Careful not to spill. Pour that right in. Continue to stir. Because you want it to be thick, right, boys and girls? You don't want a watery gravy. Well, maybe you do. Most people don't. You want a nice thick gravy. So I'll stir it each time I add a cup. And like I said, 3 cups total are going in here. So here goes cup number 2. And I'm going to keep stirring. Okay, then we'll add our final cup of broth and of course stir some more. Okay, let's set the broth aside. Cup can go in the sink and let's just stir it up. The final 2 ingredients that you want to add is what you add to a lot of dishes, your salt and pepper, right? And again, you can do that to your liking. You don't want to make it too salty though, so I'd go kind of easier on the salt. I recommend a coarse sea salt. That's what I'm going to add in here today. And then just a few shakes of your black pepper. Or more if you like pepper. And we are almost ready to create and taste our poutine. But again, I want that to thicken up, so I'm just going to continue to stir. I'm wondering, boys and girls, I'm thinking about our story. And Zoe in our story looked so forward to her birthday every year, right? And the fact that she shared her birthday with her dad. And poutine was one of her favorite treats. Do you have a favorite food or treat that you look forward to on your birthday? Maybe it's something special that you have every year that's become a tradition. Or maybe it's something new this year for your upcoming birthday that you want to try. I wonder. I love trying all different kinds of foods from different cultures, especially. We always talk about it on the show, don't we? How it's important to try new things, to at least give it that first taste, because you won't know for sure until you give it a try. All right. You should also have a ladle handy, so when you go to spoon your gravy over your poutine, you can do it easily. I don't have a ladle, so I'm just going to carefully pour out of the pot. Guess what's making me sneeze, boys and girls? Pepper will sometimes do that to you, huh? All right, let's take our deliciously fried potatoes and let's carefully pour on top some of our homemade gravy. As much as you'd like. You can drown it in it if you'd like. And then the final ingredient in poutine is, of course, those cheese curds. So you're just going to add some cheese curds on top. And then give it a try. You want to make sure you get a potato, a cheese curd, and of course gravy all in one bite.